Why is Japan sometimes described as visiting Japan is paradise, living in Japan is hell? And is it true?
My answer is hell. Why, you ask? You'll understand if you watch the video till the end.
Japan is a popular travel destination where you can enjoy unique culture and a wide variety of food. With the yen being weak, it's become an even more affordable destination, leading to a steady increase in tourists each year. However, what about living in Japan? For foreigners, living in Japan can come with many challenges. In this article, we'll explore why Japan is sometimes said to be hell for those living here. And we'll also share our own thoughts as Japanese residents on what it's really like to live in Japan. Hello everyone, I'm Nekomitsu. I research unique information, topics, and discoveries about Japan every day to share with you, especially for those interested in Japan from abroad.
Hey there, I'm Hachiko. Japan is a pretty weird country, huh? But it's also a fascinating place. I'm here to bring you some fun facts about Japan to get you even more interested. Nice to meet ya.
Why is Japan called living in Japan is hell? The first reason that comes to mind is the issue with Japan's working environment. According to Expedia's 2023 Vacation Deprivation Report, the low rate of paid leave utilization in Japan has been highlighted. Conducted online between March 26 and April 3, 2024, the survey involved 11,580 respondents across 11 countries and regions: the US, UK, Canada, Mexico, France, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore. The results showed that Japan had an average of 19 days of paid vacation in 2023, but only 12 of those days were actually taken, just 63%, the lowest among the 11 countries.
Wow, Japanese people really don't take their paid leave. Not that I do either. Haha.
Furthermore, a survey by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development revealed that the average annual wage across 38 member countries in 2022 was $53,416 Japan's average wage was $41,509, about 1.3 million yen lower than the OECD average, ranking 25th out of the 38 countries. Also, it's mainly the employees of large companies who enjoy better working conditions. If you speak Japanese, you might be able to join such companies. But for those who don't, it can be hard to land a good job. As a result, it becomes very difficult to find decent jobs with a good working environment when you're limited to part-time or short-term work.
Japan does have good companies, but it's tough for foreigners who don't speak Japanese to find work in those with good conditions.
On the other hand, Japan has 15 national holidays a year, the third highest in the world. Plus, companies often close for summer vacations or New Year holidays. So it's not that there's a lack of time off. The real issue might be less about the number of days off and more about how hard it is to take paid leave freely. There's a strong cultural pressure to keep working hard, which can take a toll on mental health. It's well known that Japanese people aren't good at speaking English. And in reality, this is true. For instance, the chance of finding a restaurant where the staff can provide service in English smoothly is probably less than 1%. In fact, Japan ranks 90th out of 113 non-native English-speaking countries in the English Proficiency Index. This ranking aligns with how many Japanese people feel about their English abilities. One major reason for this is Japan's English education curriculum. English education in Japan has focused primarily on reading and writing, making it harder for students to improve their speaking and listening skills. Underlying this is the emphasis on entrance exams and the academic hierarchy.
We Japanese can read difficult English texts, but we can't even manage a simple greeting in English. That's just how we are. Yeah.
Nowadays, English lessons that focus more on speaking have been introduced, so children are probably better at speaking English than adults. This might change in the future, but it will likely take more than 10 years. When working in Japan, a certain level of Japanese language ability is often required. Speaking only your native language and English makes it difficult to find good job opportunities in Japan. This is a challenge many foreign workers face. It's often said that Japanese people are kind and polite. And while that's true, the reality is that it takes a lot of time to build close relationships with them.
They're polite on the surface, but not exactly friendly, huh?
But don't misunderstand, this kindness isn't fake. Many people in Japan are genuinely kind, but forming deep connections is not always easy. Some people enjoy being alone and even prefer doing things like eating out, drinking, watching movies, traveling, or going to karaoke by themselves. In fact, a survey shows that more than half of the respondents said they prefer being alone over spending time with others.
As for me, I like hanging out with people every now and then, but once a week is enough. I'm pretty busy, watching anime, reading manga, and playing video games.
If you're someone who enjoys socializing in big groups, you might feel that relationships in Japan are a bit shallow. On the other hand, if you prefer a more peaceful life, you might find Japan's approach quite comfortable. Japan's summer is simply hot. In 2024, Japan experienced an unprecedented heat wave, recording a maximum temperature of 41 degrees Celsius in Tochigi. In Tokyo, the average temperature in August exceeded 30 degrees every day, with highs nearing 40 degrees.
This summer was so hot, I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Except for Hokkaido, it's basically hot everywhere, and the humidity is high at 60% to 70%, making it really muggy. You'll be sweating like a waterfall.
There are quite a few people who underestimate the heat of Japan's summer. In reality, it's as hot as a sauna.
Especially Tokyo and Kyoto, which are popular among foreign tourists, are really hot in the summer. If you're coming for a trip, it's better to avoid midsummer.
But Japanese convenience store ice cream is seriously delicious, so if you want to taste the best frozen treats, come in the summer.
In Japan, there's a common mentality of everyone is doing this, so I have to do it too. Many Japanese people naturally think this way, and it can sometimes create a sense of restriction. On the other hand, anything that deviates from the norm is often met with strict judgment. What's more, it's not just about established rules. Japan tends to be strict with any kind of order. This brings many benefits. For example, public transportation strictly adheres to schedules, and everyone forms proper lines without cutting in. The streets are clean, and there's no doubt that you'll find it easier to live an orderly life here. For example, there are many unspoken rules, such as wearing your backpack on the front during crowded train rides, not making phone calls on buses or trains, and walking on the left side of escalators. People live as if everyone naturally knows these uniquely Japanese customs, manners, and practices. So, when someone goes against these expectations, they might be met with disapproving looks.
Yeah, I once knocked an old man over with my big backpack when I turned around, so now I always carry it in front on the train. But it's not like it's a requirement. It's just that if you don't do things like this in Japan, people will think you're weird.
The emphasis on harmony can sometimes put pressure on individuals and even cause mental strain. Foreigners unfamiliar with these cultural expectations might face even greater challenges. Tokyo is said to be more affordable than cities in Western countries, and that's absolutely true. In a survey comparing travel expenses across 40 cities, Tokyo ranked 4th as one of the cheapest places to stay, following cities in Vietnam, South Africa, and Kenya.
Japan is a great deal. Oh man!
Certainly, Japan can be a reasonably priced country for short-term stays. But what about living here long-term? Japan ranks 46th in the Purchasing Power Parity GDP ranking, which considers the cost of living in different countries. This means that while the cost of living may be lower, so are wages, especially for foreigners who don't speak Japanese and struggle to find well-paying jobs. Living a comfortable life in Japan can be quite challenging.
For tourists, though, this low cost is fantastic. One plate of sushi at a conveyor belt sushi place is just $1.
On the other hand, for those living here, it doesn't feel particularly cheap. This is the current reality in Japan. So far, we've talked about how living in Japan can feel like hell, but in reality, there are many positive aspects as well. For example, 1. Public services and healthcare are well organized. 2. Delicious food is available everywhere. 3. The streets and facilities are clean. 4. The safety is high. The safety is so good that children can play outside alone, and women can walk alone at night without worrying. It's also true that if you drop your wallet, someone will usually find it and return it without taking any money.
The food being delicious is definitely true. Even chain restaurants are great.
If anyone wants to live in Japan, knowing the drawbacks we've mentioned, but still being attracted by the positives, then please come and experience it for yourself.
We'll guide you to great places and tourist spots in Japan. Feel free to leave a comment.